All right, welcome everybody. My name is Kim Katz from CEE, and we're really excited today to share the Lighting and Homes for Tomorrow 2020 winners with you. And I'll just note that this webinar is being recorded and will be available after the fact. Alice, next slide, please. So to quickly go over the agenda for today, we have a brief welcome from John Taylor from CEE. We'll give an overview of the Lighting and Homes for Tomorrow competition. Terry McGowan from the American Lighting Association will introduce the awards, and then we'll hear from 3 of our judges who helped to select these winning products to tell you more about why these products specifically were selected out of the many great products that entered the competition. We will have some time at the end for a Q&A, so feel free to drop questions in the chat at any point, or when we get to the Q&A, you'll be able to take yourself off mute and ask questions to our speakers directly. And then we'll let you know a little bit more about what to expect in 2021 at the end. And with that, I'd like to welcome John Taylor from CEE.
All right, well, thank you, Kim, and thank all of you, particularly those of you who are being recognized today, because you join a distinguished list of manufacturers for many years who have been leading the way with regard to efficiency, but also innovative design and really creating happy, satisfied customers. And I just thought it'd be worth emphasizing how much this competition represents how our industry, the energy efficiency program industry, and underlying it, the utility industry, is evolving. You saw the criteria to determine which products were exemplary really have gone beyond efficiency. They include connectivity, interoperability, the simplicity of use for the customer, and the ability to shift or shave energy use based on time. And that's something I think we've all seen in the news recently is becoming of the utmost importance. And so you're really seeing an increased emphasis and understanding that where and when we save the energy matters, on top of making sure customers get that valued amenity they're pursuing with a particular product. So this is really just one manifestation, this competition of an industry-wide strategy of CEs called the Integrated Home. And Alice is going to talk about it a little bit more, but our board of directors just approved this initiative, really endorsing what the direction of efficiency programs will need to be going forward. And I was going to just emphasize a couple points. Equipment control is going to be absolutely critical to realizing future savings and enabling decarbonization. And ensuring those controls work seamlessly across product categories, across manufacturers, and that customers ultimately have a good smart home experience, that's going to be critical if those of us in the energy industry have any hope of realizing new grid benefits or new environmental benefits. And so seamlessly ability to control products for many purposes, including energy management, important and gaining importance. You've heard me emphasize the time, the location, and the duration of the energy savings from our perspective is how we come at the smart home is really critical. And yes, reducing energy waste is still a worthwhile pursuit, but targeting the savings is going to be critical to cost-effective deployment of our programs going forward, and has implications in terms of support for the products that are able to be intelligent in that regard or automated in that regard. And I think I would just be remiss if I didn't acknowledge, we don't pretend that energy is going to drive the ship of the smart home. Our goal is to really recognize the fact that many of your organizations, many other market leaders are making investments in smart technology, low-cost sensing, two-way communication to create new value for customers, simplicity, health, home security, automation. So our goal is really to leverage those investments you're already making and then create even more value with regard to energy management and decarbonization. So ultimately, our goal is to collaborate and support industry leaders like you who are growing the pie. Let's create new value and even better serve our shared customer. So again, thank you so much for the the investment of time and resource towards the products and the competition, and to the judges for putting so much effort in. And on behalf of CE, we're just so grateful and so proud of the winners. So thank you very much, and I'll pass it back to Kim and Alice.
Thank you, John. So a couple introductory slides. What is Lighting in Homes for Tomorrow is where we're going to start. It's maybe a confusing name, and that's because it's the nexus between 15 years of Lighting for Tomorrow and the upcoming integrated home competition. So Lighting and Homes for Tomorrow is it's a competition. We're building off a 15-year Lighting for Tomorrow competition of looking to evolve that industry, and we're transitioning it this coming year into a full integrated home competition. The 2020 competition was really designed to take the Lighting for Tomorrow model of a competition in the market and look to promote connected products that not just deliver a very efficient product with connected capabilities, but also are a positive consumer experience and deliver quality to customers in the home. So it's using the model, again, of a competition to see what is out there in the market and really promote winners that meet utility needs and are able to deliver a very positive consumer experience while also saving energy, time, and locational as well. The purpose of the competition is multifaceted, really. We're looking to promote winners, but also to gain a lot of insight. Our members are utilities, and they're always looking to find out what's out there, and the competition is a way to really see what's going on in the market and give us insight into what is being built and what the market's doing, as well as for the market to understand what values the utilities are seeking. It is intended to support the development of connected products out there that, again, not only deliver energy efficiency, but can have demand flexibility and demand response and automated load management and a positive consumer experience. And then lastly, of course, to reward these models in the market and really put them on a pedestal and let everyone know that they are meeting certain needs and goals of utilities. The integrated home competition, which is the Lighting in Home for Tomorrow competition, is not just a standalone activity where we thought, hey, let's have a competition. It's part of a broader vision that John just spoke to that we're working on here at CEE across our entire residential portfolio and in fact across the whole membership. The idea being that while we're still focused very largely on getting energy efficiency savings, on top of that, we really want to see a grid or a distribution system interactive home where different parts of the house, the different components can work with each other together seamlessly to communicate, interoperate, that's probably not a word, and really be able to have, again, a consumer experience that's very seamless and easy, but also kind of behind the scenes doing a lot to help utilities manage their energy use. And so the benefit is multifold. Consumers get a lot more energy management access. They are able to really interact and engage with their home in new ways. And then for our members, they're able to kind of react to dynamic values of energy, respond to signals, and all that kind of helps to contribute to a safe and low-cost, reliable energy system. I'll also note that there are tons of benefits for the manufacturers too. Hopefully those kind of go without saying, but having a better value proposition to consumers is obviously a win. Being able to really offer a niche product category is certainly good. Being able to engage with them if something is broken, there's a lot of benefit here too for the manufacturers. So we really see this as a win-win-win in our integrated home vision. The opportunity, I think I've already covered all of these, but really it goes across not just energy efficiency savings, but being able to have a holistic experience and deliver to a series of different value streams associated with the full integrated home. With that, the 2020 competition sponsors, we had a great group participating in this 2019 to 2020 phase. You see their pictures up here. A lot of our members, in addition to some trade associations, were heavily involved in this. So we want to thank them all so much for their ongoing support. A lot of these folks will be promoting the winners in their different programs and offerings over the coming year. So thanks to all of these folks for sponsoring. You'll see at the end, we've got almost all of these folks on board again for next year, plus a whole new slew that have already joined on. So we really do rely heavily on these folks to influence and guide us in this project. Why do they sponsor the Lighting and Homes for Tomorrow competition? Well, I probably have covered a lot already, but they are looking for not just new technologies, but also ways to deliver positive experience to their consumers. So this is a great way to identify really the cutting edge products, those that can deliver and have been vetted through the judging process, through a really robust entry process. This gives them a leg up on knowing what types of products and the winning entries they might want to consider for promotion in their offerings moving forward. Last slide before I turn it over is just a quick summary of the evaluation criteria that we used when looking at all the entrants that were submitted in 2020. It's a very long list, as you'll see, and going back to kind of our integrated home vision, you'll note that some of these first ones are about energy savings, utility benefits, but there are also several that have to do with the consumer value. So the simplicity, how easy it is to install, what kind of aesthetics are included, the value to them. This list kind of gets at several different aspects, not just having to do with energy savings or ones that you'd assume that utilities want. So this was the list that we used in looking at the products that were submitted. And I'm going to turn it over now to Terry, who will walk you through a little bit more detail. I think you're on mute, Terry.
Okay.
There we are. Okay. Alice, thank you. And it is really a pleasure to be part of this first Lighting and Homes for Tomorrow competition. And I'll just add a few comments on behalf of the American Lighting Association, and of course its members who make up the residential lighting industry in the US and Canada. As you mentioned, the Lighting and Homes for Tomorrow was really an extension of Lighting for Tomorrow. And it took a lot of work to move one to the other, as we have found out. And I want to thank the CEE for that. We really focused on the message that residential lighting products can be energy efficient as well as stylish and functional in home decor when we invented Lighting for Tomorrow. Now we're adding something else, really a new layer, and it's a complicated layer of product requirements that really make the whole thing much more complex, and as we'll no doubt learn, very hard to judge in some cases. And even setting up the criteria has been quite an experience. So times have changed, and we needed to add that other layer to our residential lighting product line because a growing segment of our customers want increased functionality that comes with lighting products that are not just smart, they're connected and increasingly part of the fast developing structure of the integrated home. Consumers and homeowners want to switch lights remotely, increase home security, convenience and flexibility, as well as make it easy to do with their cell phones or voice control capabilities that come with Siri and Alexis. This is a challenge for the lighting industry, I must say. It involves light bulbs, lighting fixtures, lighting controls, ceiling fans, which often include lights, of course, and increasingly shades and blinds which control the natural light in homes. We know that when consumers buy lighting products, they start with appearance, functionality, and price. Now connectivity is being added, and that means change to somehow include connectivity in the list of must-have features. Already we have learned that lighting is what consumers usually think of first when they think of connecting their homes. They have quickly learned that lighting apps and controls are relatively easy to set up, inexpensive, and best of all, give fast results that can be seen and experienced, or even provide entertainment and fun for the whole family. In other words, connected lighting is a gateway to the connected home, and is the way that a large proportion of homeowners will experience connected home living for the first time. So the ALA is very pleased to be part of this transformation and wants to continue to be part of it, even though the substantial energy savings will probably be less than in recent years, as more efficient light sources have appeared and sockets have been converted to these higher efficiency light sources, such as LEDs, replacing, of course, traditional incandescent lamps. There is still energy to be saved, however, and we're going to be looking with you at some of these opportunities. we expect to contribute greatly to what we all need to know about consumer preferences relating to products and systems. For example, should a luminaire be integrated with LEDs built in so there is no way to replace the parts? You have to replace the luminaire. Or should that luminaire have sockets that accept different kinds of light bulbs that screw in the way we're used to? The ALA has just completed its first guidance document on that subject and expects to develop the idea further as the question becomes more complex, as it surely will. So we're looking forward to the growing opportunity in the integrated home and working with others who make different kinds of products and have different thoughts about integrating that home. And we want to continue to work with the CEE. It's always been a pleasure and will continue to be so, and to be involved with all of you in products and systems and services related to this growing idea of the integrated home. Thanks.
Thank you, Terry. And now we're going to go into the 2020 award winners. So with that, let me turn it over to Bethany Sparn for the connected lighting, controls, ceiling fan, and plug loads control panel. There is a lot to cover in this one.
Thank you, Alice. So my name is Bethany Sparn. I am in the residential buildings group at the National Renewable Energy Lab, and I sat on the panel that looked at the connected lighting, ceiling fans, and plug loads. Next slide, please. So from the group of products that we evaluated on this panel, we chose 3 winners. I'm going to talk about them in a little more detail, but the 3 that are shown here were the winners. So Juno AI made some pretty interesting recessed lights. C/GE Smart Switch is a pretty interesting set of controls, and then these modern form fans. Next slide. Okay, so these lights made by Juno AI include LED recessed lights that also can have built-in speakers and built-in Alexa. So you wouldn't necessarily have all of your lights be speakers or Alexa integrated, but you could imagine a room with a bunch of the lights installed with the speakers in some places, and maybe one Alexa can. We thought this was a pretty interesting combination, just because it kind of eliminates some of the extra pieces. Just a little more, I guess, on the features. All the lights are dimmable. They're tunable white, so you can change the color of the white. And then lights can be scheduled through the app, or of course using voice control. So next slide, please. So the reason this one won was we thought it was a really nice integration of different pieces, especially different pieces that are often sort of an extra thing. So instead of needing an extra speaker sitting on a counter or an extra Alexa sitting on another counter, putting them all together and kind of out of the way seemed like a really nice combination. Also kind of helps to create this modern smart home where, you know, people have gone away from wiring speakers because there are such great speaker products out there, but then you again have this thing on your counter. So it's kind of a nice combination of features, takes advantage of the power that's already in the light fixtures. So we just thought this was kind of a fun and interesting product, and still brings that efficiency and the controls that you might want. So that one, that's the first winner. Move on to the next one. Okay, so C/GE, they submitted this motion sensing and dimmer smart switch. It's actually part of a bigger category. So this switch has kind of all the bells and whistles, and then there's other versions that have slightly less features, has the sort of the suite of products has lots of interesting features. So this particular one has motion sensing and dimming integrated into the same switch. The sensor also does daylight sensing that can be used for control. One really cool feature was that the motion sensing can be set up so that different times of day produces a different result. So in the middle of the day, you might want to have the motion sensor turn on the light at sort of a normal level, but maybe in the middle of the night, if this is in a bathroom, you want that light to turn on at a very low level so that it doesn't blind someone. So you can actually configure that so that the light comes on at a lower level at certain times of day. Another really cool feature was that these switches can be set up to control smart bulbs made by GE that aren't on the same circuit. So you could imagine having a room where you have a lamp that you want to turn on with the switch, but there's no way to get that lamp on the switch circuit. So that's a nice way to start to build these really integrated spaces. And there's also Bluetooth connectivity between switches so that in the event that Wi-Fi is down, some of the connected functionality will still remain. I think some things will obviously not work quite the same, but a lot of it will still work as needed. Another really nice feature of these is that a neutral line is not needed. I happen to be the go-to smart home technology person for my family, and so I'd been hearing complaints from my little brother about not being able to install smart switches because his home didn't have neutral lines, and he was desperately wanting to make his home full of tech. And so there's finally a solution for him. Next slide. Just kind of reiterating some of these features that we thought were really interesting. The integration and the lots of different control features really stood out to us. The fact that there are a lot of different controls that allows for some energy savings, whether it's using the dimming, using motion sensing, using daylighting to help control lights, all of those things are really interesting from an energy perspective. And then the different ways of configuring the switches, including integrating smart bulbs, we thought was really powerful, again, towards this sort of fully integrated smart home. So I thought this was a pretty impressive product group. Okay, next one. Okay, and the last winner in this panel were these two different fans made by Modern Forms. So two different looking fans, but same functionality. Each of them are Wi-Fi connected so that you can control them through an app on your phone. There's also a wall panel that allows for the same controls. The app allows for fan speed control, rotation direction, light on and off, and light dimming. They can integrate with your voice assistants, and then they can also integrate with ecobee thermostats. Next slide, please. So we really liked the additional control functionalities. I think one thing that's always kind of a struggle with ceiling fans is that, you know, they get turned on when they're needed, but then they get left on forever. So having the additional controls is really helpful. You can turn something off if you forget to, or you can set it up on a schedule and not have to worry about it. And then this integration with the thermostat seems like a really interesting combination. We didn't get to explore too much of what that integration would do. So I'm excited to see where that goes, but I could imagine some interesting controls where maybe the thermostat doesn't have to do as much cooling if the fans are running. So I like seeing this integration across products that don't necessarily have the same brands, but kind of touch on the same thing, in this case, HVAC. So that's why these ones won.
Thank you, Bethany. And now we're going to move on to connected heating and cooling panel. And Michael will walk us through these.
Yes, hi. Good day to you all. It's a pleasure to actually talk about this particular category.
Hey, Michael, if it's possible at all to get a little closer to your speaker, it's a little quiet.
Okay, I'm sitting right in front of the computer. Is this any better?
No, but if you can't do anything, maybe just talk loudly and we'll I'll turn you up a little bit.
Let me see if there's one more thing I can do. Hold on. Difference?
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Okay. I unplugged
Smart
something.
technology is complicated.
I unplugged something. That's second choice is slapping it on the side. Anyway, hello to you all. I was starting to say that it's a real pleasure to talk about the thermostat category. And I say that because I actually am a human factors specialist. And so that is the kind of person who thinks a lot about and tries to make contributions to the ease of use of various products. And so a thermostat is very demanding in the sense of today's modern functionality, trying to gain control over what your heating and cooling system does, depending on the type of thermostat. And I think it's an essential part of a smart home. One of the most productive, useful things you can have is one of these smart devices. And so the first device that we're going to talk about, and an award winner, is the ecobee Smart Thermostat with voice control. And my fellow judges and I admired this product for multiple reasons, and a lot of them related to the user experience, presuming sort of a baseline of functional capability. The product, at a glance, I think it clearly showcases significant attention to good industrial design. Let's keep in mind these kind of products kind of fit into the home decor in a way. Yeah, they do. They have to be appropriate to the environment, and this one certainly has an appropriate look. It arguably adds elegance to the home. I would say, and the other judges felt that it was stylish without being intrusive. In other words, this kind of product isn't trying to be a showcase and draw attention on abnormally, but it fits right in. The device has what we consider to be a good user interface. It has a touch screen, which supports good intuitive use of the basic functions of the device. I and others admired the display's brightness and clarity. We found it quite advantageous that the product worked with popular digital assistants, as others do, but that's really an important thing to be included here. Notably, the thermostat has a second sensor that can be placed away from the primary thermostat, and that gives you greater flexibility in terms of heating and cooling selected areas of the home. The judges took note of the fact that the device could act as an extension of a home digital assistant. I think during our judging process, we talked about the beauty of ordering groceries or food delivery using our smart thermostat. I suppose there could be a competition between this device and the other kinds of modules that we normally think of when we think about Alexa and Google Assistant and so forth. As today's consumers have come to expect, the device enables them to program the heating and cooling systems in accordance with occupancy patterns and personal preferences. So it really checks the box there. Our judges concluded, with the help of an assistant who had done some installation, that this device was relatively easy to install, facilitated by usability features, including some color coding. So really addressing the interests of the installer. And they also admired that the device could be installed potentially in a do-it-yourself mode for a motivated consumer. So in summary, this smart thermostat is smartly designed and overall winner in the category. We'll go to the next slide. So Sinopé, I haven't seen the slide change. There it is. Yep. Okay. You know, this is a product that has a lot in common with the last one that I commented on. Also a handsome product, reflecting good attention to industrial design and user interface design to satisfy, I would say, demanding consumers who appreciate that and look for it, as well as the consumer who may not be aware of the importance of good design and usability. They're going to get it from this product as well. The judges considered to be appropriately compact, well suited to a myriad of environments reflecting various interior design styles. You know, in this case, it's white with that black display, and really feels like an upmarket product based on the clarity of the display, the use of some graphics. It's notable that it gives you the outdoor and indoor temperature, all nice things, and interfaces with the normal digital assistants as well. The programmability of it gives you essentially the opportunity to get the most out of your baseboard heating solutions and was considered a really nice solution. Again, the judges concluded from some hands-on experience that this could be installed by a motivated do-it-yourselfer as well, and not necessarily require an electrician. So another fine example, in this case in the category of electric line voltage heating control. And the last one. This is the Flair Puck Pro. And, the standalone puck is certainly diminutive as well as wireless. That was considered really nice to have. Independently powered, can be placed in practically any convenient position. As a human factor specialist, I would like to say you probably want that position to be away from children who might treat it as a different kind of puck, and away from animals that might think of it as a chew toy, but kind of a sweet solution for being able to sense the conditions, the ambient conditions in a room, and have it communicate with a base station. And there's no need for a line of sight. And so that was considered a really strong advantage of this particular product. Again, appealing industrial design. The software user interface associated with it was judged to be contemporary and pleasing in terms of its look and feel. You can look at some apps and feel that you're looking at something that maybe came out of the 1990s, back when there was DOS, command line control of computers. And this one had a very nice contemporary user-friendly appearance. Judges also admired that the product was compatible with many installed systems and thought that was real advantageous for the product. So for a mini split heating winner, you've got one right there, really nice solution.
Thank you. And I'm going to now turn over to our third and last panel, where Tim Millsy from BC Hydro will talk about sort of the unique or other category. A note that we will take questions at the end. So if you've got some about the previous two panels or any that come up, save those. And after Tim shares the winners of this panel, we'll have plenty of time for that. So Tim, on to you.
Okay, thanks. Hi, everyone. Hopefully you can hear me okay. Yeah, I was on two panels for judging here, and so kudos to all the other folks that were involved in the judging. It's quite a process, and we discovered a lot about these products. We looked at quite a wide variety of products, and the results from our panels we had. We looked at window coverings, which is the first thing I'm going to take you through. And we also looked at this other category, which Alice mentioned. So Alice, do you want to move me on to my first slide? So in the window coverings category, the first product we looked at, the product, that we chose as a winner was the Hunter Douglas product. And from a perspective of what it is, quite frankly, it's a fairly straightforward window blind. It goes up, it goes down. But the interesting stuff happens when you start looking at what it's made of, how it performs from a thermal perspective, and also how it can be controlled by an app. And that's where the sort of smarts come in. On the actual thermal performance, it has a very good thermal performance, a low U factor of, I think, about 0.2. The way that it's made is it's sort of constructed in a way that traps air, lots of honeycomb sort of air pockets inside the physical structure of the blind, which thermal resistance. So great for keeping hot weather out or cold weather, keeping the sun out or keeping the heat in. It's rated by the Attachments Energy Rating Council as a high energy efficiency product. The judges like the very solid quality and feel about the product and the way it moved up and down smoothly, and the noise or lack of noise in that process. But like I said, the interesting stuff starts to happen when we start talking about what it does from a communicating perspective. And there's a very well designed app and control system. You can either use an app or you can use an app in combination with a remote that offers functionality like a TV remote. But the app can help you sort of set scenes, so you can have movie time and have the light dimmed with the blinds, or you can connect the system to other smart home systems to help you indoor temperature. So if it gets too warm, you can automatically get the blinds to come. You can set location in the system so that you can sync your blinds movements with outdoor light levels or sunset, sunrise type things. So the ability for you to sort of control multiple blinds in a large house with an app, multiple schedules, responding to other inputs like temperature and sunlight and time of day, etc., make it a pretty neat application of smart home technology in the for a simple up and down moving blind. The system can connect to quite a few different smart home systems. I'm not going to read out the long list, but all the main ones were sort of identified. You can connect to IFTTT as well, so you can really start to bring in some customization and connection with other entities or smart home products that you have in your household. So yeah, overall, it was a great product, great thermal resistance, and a very smart looking app that allowed you to control it from anywhere and add some advanced sort of features that related to temperature and light levels and scenes and settings that you might want to set. That was the Hunter Douglas product. Next slide. Totally different category, this. This blue box that you're looking at here is a retrofit attachment that you would put on top of a hot water tank. So whether you have a gas hot water tank, or whether you have an electric hot water tank, you can use this device, or they have a version for both of those types of hot water tanks. And what this allows you to do is not only control to some extent your on-off status of your hot water tank, but it also allows you to present a water tank to a utility, and a utility can sort of use it to push demand response events through to the hot water tank, etc. It does more than just provide that sort of utility DR functionality or time of use functionality. The user themselves can use the smarts that are sort of collected by the little blue box there to help them understand a little bit more about how much energy they're using for hot water heating. The device has a number of sensors which connect externally to parts of the hot water tank system, water leak detectors, temperature probes that connect to the top of the hot water tank that can give the system a bit of information about how much energy you're using, and also sort of how much hot water you're using, and sort of how much hot water is left in the tank, and things like that, which help you as a user try and minimize the amount of energy you're spending on hot water, because you get that feedback loop which helps you make certain decisions. Like I said earlier, that there's a great sort of role for this product when it comes to making dumb hot water tanks smart for DR and time of use capabilities. The app that comes with the product has the ability to plug in, you can sort of select your utility time of use rate in a sort of drop down menu approach, where if you have a utility that has a time of use rate, you can then get the system to try and avoid heating that hot water tank during those time periods, but because it's learned a bit about your hot water usage, it can kind of anticipate when you're likely to use the hot water tank based on history, and therefore make sure you don't run out of hot water in those peak time periods. It doesn't necessarily just cut it off for those peak time periods. It sort of uses an intelligent sort of algorithm that says, we'll try and avoid heating during this time, but I think we're okay because we've got enough hot water in this tank to sort of get the person through the event. So it's pretty neat that way. It does need to be installed probably in most jurisdictions by someone who knows what they're doing. It did look like a fairly simple install, but you're talking about on the gas side and electric side, some connections that probably need a professional to do them, and permitting potentially depends on your jurisdiction. But it's a lot cheaper option than buying a whole new communicating hot water tank. And I think that's that one, the Aquanta system. And the last product that we have here is the Powerley smart home energy platform. This is a essentially this is a typically it's a consumer-facing app, but it's marketed as a white label product for a utility. So a utility would offer this app under their brand to their customers. And the main purpose of the app is really to try and help engage customers in understanding and managing their energy use. And so there are different levels of involvement a customer can have or a household can have with this system. The simplest is just the app, so there's no hardware potentially involved, and you just have the app, and the utility basically presents smart meter data from some form of backhaul to the Powerley system, where they can present hourly energy usage information and a whole lot of other sort of analytics that can come from looking at that hourly data. The picture there you see is pretty neat. That dial is a very useful tool for a quick glance to see where your energy usage is happening at the different times of the day. And that can be presented at the hourly level if it's just the app, or the kind of next level of involvement here will be if you actually bought or the utility paid for that little white box that's in the picture, which is the hub. And what that does is it provides live energy usage data to the system. And so you get a much more granular look at your energy consumption, and you can see it live. And then you can really start as a user to see patterns in the usage and things that are going on in your household that can show you see how much energy you're using for certain things that are happening at certain times of the day. So it becomes a very interesting tool. There's a lot of analytics, disaggregation, coaching, tips, advice, alerts and stuff that gets sent to the user or gets presented in the app to help the user really understand what's happening in their household from an energy perspective. The system can be used to connect to, and the third level of involvement is the smart home side. And so you can start building your smart home ecosystem by connecting smart home products to the hub, just like you would do to a Samsung SmartThings hub or your Alexa with your Zigbee connection. So you can build your smart home around the hub, and you can control those devices through the app. So the moment you start having smart devices connected, then the utility can in theory offer some form of demand response or time of use sort of functionality as well, and that can be all controlled through the system. So as a utility, you can send demand response signals through the hub to whatever devices are connected to it: thermostats, hot water tank controllers, etc., EV charger controllers, that sort of thing. So it becomes quite a versatile tool for utilities, and a very interesting tool for the consumer to help them manage their energy use. I think that's the thanks.
Yeah, thank you so much, Tim and Bethany and Michael. So those were the 9 products that were selected. The judges did have a lot of leeway, and as you can see, they're very diverse products. So with that, we'll open it up, and if anyone's got questions that are specific to a product or just in general, we welcome those now. Either unmute yourself and jump on in, feel free to use the chat, or any other media you can think of, but we welcome anything.
I'll kick us off. I was wondering if you could speak to any sort of trend that you noticed. Either was there a type of feature that was really popular that you were excited to see, or one that you would have liked to see, or anything about the types of products that entered the competition?
I can jump in. I think we're seeing a very strong trend with everything kind of moving towards Wi-Fi connectivity. I think that hasn't, I think that's been my sense for a while, but it was definitely pretty clear that everything that I can think of had Wi-Fi connectivity, at least in addition to other things. So I'd say it seems like Wi-Fi is kind of where everything's going, but we did see a number of products that had some redundant communications built in, like having a Bluetooth as a backup that would allow either connection between products or connection between the app and the product. Like if your Wi-Fi was down but you were there, you could still potentially use the app using Bluetooth. So that seemed to be a pretty strong trend. And I guess one thing that I hadn't seen much with that Bluetooth backup, so that was kind of a nice resiliency feature that people are starting to add.
I can cite a trend for you, which is that companies that might have become, well, have a history of developing electrical appliances, electrical devices, have had to learn the language of good software user interface design these days. Quite a few of the products we reviewed and some of the award winners had mobile apps or websites that presented a lot of functionality and required users to sort through the content and figure out what they could do, how to do it. And we definitely noticed that some of them were applying, let's say, the contemporary toolkit of good software UI design as might be prescribed in certain style guides made available by mobile app developers and platforms. But you could have an outstanding lighting or heating solution, but it could really be taken down by, shall we say, clumsy software user interface design, because that's where people are exerting a lot of control because they want to go to their mobile app and control things from a distance. And so that becomes the face of your product to a large degree. And you probably want it to have an attractive face and a highly functional one where people are not struggling trying to figure out how to do things, or worse, doing things they didn't realize they did and come home and find that the system wasn't functioning the way they intended. So usability, good user experience, good software UI design is becoming quite important.
Any other panelists want to weigh in on that one?
Yeah, sure. There was one question. I think one part of that question was what we'd like to see more of, and so just very briefly, I would like to see more systems that can control multiple devices rather than the end-use device themselves. It's an endpoint that we all want to get to and have this interoperable system, but there are lots of systems that, or smart home ecosystems that can control stuff, but can they do it in a way that helps people manage their energy? That's the part I'd like to see more of. I don't want to see an Apple HomeKit entry because it doesn't have an energy management component, but I want to see something that can manage lots of different products and help the customer manage their energy as a result of having that connectivity. That's what I'd like to see.
Yep, agreed. I think that the Powerley entry was really exciting, and I hope we get to see more things like that that are really focused on pulling in lots of data and lots of controls together in one place, and hopefully giving consumers tools. Or I think it's going to be a lot to ask people to schedule everything individually or figure out what the right schedule is, or all these different things. So centralized control, or at least multi-device control, and potentially some easier ways of managing that piece.
Great. One question that came from the chat, Kim, you might want to kick us off. Did all these products debut in 2020?
No, since this was the first iteration of this connected product competition, we accepted products that had debuted between 2018 and 2020.
Kim, if I may comment a little bit about this, what we've seen in the lighting part of the industry is that apps are required, and sometimes these apps are not compatible. So let's say you have a number of products in the home, different circuits, different lights, controlling different kinds of applications. You end up with a cell phone full of apps. And we've already heard the frustration of people saying, I've got 11 apps on my phone. I don't really want that many. And I don't even want to think about what happens if something goes wrong. So the idea of putting these together, combining the apps or simplifying the controls is turning out to be, at least from a lighting standpoint, quite a problem. What are the panelists thinking about how that can be simplified? What steps should be taken to do that?
I can tell you that interoperability and sort of standardization of the user experience as induced by whatever the software user interface is really important. It's been a problem getting that level of integration and enhanced usability in all kinds of environments. I'll just draw a comparison to the medical environment, where actually doctors and nurses have to interact with dozens of different products made by different companies, all of which have their own user interface and symbols and alarms and so forth. And that could become a problem in the home environment as well. I mean, what you really want is some sort of means by which you have the same words and symbols and same interaction style to a given app that allows you to control everything in your home. You get that actually in a car that has actually a lot of functions: the radio, the climate control, a bunch of functions. And I'm not sure I have the answer to that. Sometimes it's industry standardization on some things. Sometimes it's having a dominant player and everybody kind of makes it look like that particular app. But I'm not sure that's a problem that's going to go away quickly. So therefore, the prescription for at least easing the pain would be, again, this is going to sound evangelistic from a human factors specialist, but you're talking about the user experience and bringing to bear professional skills at developing a user interface that is intuitive, lets people get things done quickly without really having to think too hard, is good, ordering tasks in a way that makes sense, and doing usability testing to make sure it's not just the people developing the interface who can use it, because we tend to design things for ourselves and it's not always clear somebody else will have the same experience with it. So I think manufacturers should pay very close attention to doing usability testing, essentially taking their products out for a test drive and seeing if things go well, or seeing if they can identify opportunities for improvement, really letting the consumer be a voice in developing a product that is truly user-friendly.
No, that's good information.
So I have some thoughts on this as well. So I'd say that there are some apps, or I don't know if the right word is platforms, that are allowing you to pull different products kind of together. So for instance, I have Google Home and I can pull in all of my different brands of smart lights and my Nest and a bunch of different products all into one app, and I can see them all in one place. It's not perfect in the sense that, you know, there's a little bit of functionality that you can only get by going to the manufacturer's app, but it's definitely a start. And then I think voice assistants are also going to play some of that role. You know, I usually just go to the app because I happen to be someone that prefers that versus the voice. But I think that as we start connecting more and more products that use the same voice assistant in a house, that is going to end up being kind of that common place where either you're doing it over voice or an app, but there is a sort of a central repository or a central place where a lot of these different brands and different products can be in one place and controlled from one place.
Good.
Well, thank you to all the speakers. A huge thank you and congratulations to all of our winners too. We really are so thrilled to see these. We loved judging them, and I think everyone on the line should hopefully get a sense for what we would love to see next year as well. I think we're really kind of a beginning of something, and we'll look back and be pretty proud of this first year and also see how far we've come. So with that, Kim's going to wrap up with a couple slides about the 2021 competition, and then we'll let you all go. So Kim, I'll move on.
Thanks, Alice. Again, congratulations to our winners. Hopefully you're all feeling excited about entering the 2021 Integrated Home Competition. So again, we're continuing to expand the sorts of categories that we looked at in the 2020 Lighting and Homes for Tomorrow competition. Next slide, please. So speaking of these competition categories, this year we'll be accepting entries in the HVAC and thermostat categories. We're adding water heaters. We'll have window attachments again, adding pool pumps, and of course lighting and lighting controls, ceiling fans, and plug load controls. And if you have a product that's really unique and innovative that you think would be a great fit for this sort of integrated home concept, we want to hear about it. And so let us know what you've got and we'll figure out how we can include that in the competition. We've got a great list of sponsors here. These are the folks who are helping us as we develop the 2021 competition and continue to expand our reach. And in terms of organizers, those are our 4 organizations on the left. And so a huge thank you to them as we move this forward. If you're a manufacturer who's interested in entering the competition, hopefully you've seen some of the benefits. We do promotion like this webinar here today. But these products are also well positioned to receive future utility endorsements or incentives. You might have seen some of those utility names on our list of sponsors. An award from the Integrated Home Competition indicates to stakeholders that your product really represents a quality product. We go through this really rigorous judging process to look at all of these products. And so that will help to distinguish your connected products from others in the market. And in addition, all entrants, regardless of those that are awarded or not, will receive feedback from the sponsors or the judging panel during the competition. Just a quick overview of our timeline. If you're looking to enter, we strongly encourage anyone who's listening and interested to do so. We'll be opening submissions in April. You can email us at competition@cee1.org or visit our website. We've still got the lightingfortomorrow.com right now to visit, switching to a new one soon. But that's where you can enter the competition and find out more. And we're always available to answer any questions or talk further about your really cool products. And with that, thank you again to everyone for joining. Congratulations to our winners and stay tuned for the Integrated Home Competition that will be launching soon.